Hey folks, Lane here. Ooh, Lane here. I was playing Persona 3 remake, and they're getting into stuff which I think is pretty freaking wild. Uh, yeah, let's go over this because this is something that I find super interesting. Uh, Indirectly. Yes. So I have mentioned before in the channel, I'm Jewish. And so one of the things that Persona 3 talks about is magic. And they did talk about this in the prior releases of this. But yeah, so we're in the middle of summer school, and the teacher, Mr. Edogawa, is going over his lecture of magic. Why is that something that people study in Japanese school, in high school? That's ridiculous. Anyway, it's the fifth day of summer school, and Edogawa says, "Now let's begin. Yudhei Vavhei. That is how you spell the Tetragrammaton. It's not how it's pronounced." And I'm thinking, wow, they just went there. That is not normally how you would start an academic lecture. Oh boy. Yes, folks, I am interested in mysticism and I'm Jewish. I haven't really directly studied Kabbalah because I am technically old enough, but I'm really not educated enough to get into the deep depths. I I can do a little daf yomi, which is the process by which Jews study and decode and discuss the Talmud, which is commentary about the Torah. But like the mystical true name of God, which nobody says but is represented by those four letters, Yud Hey Vav Hey. Interesting way that they, yeah, it's not Yod, Yud. I would go on with you, but honestly, I don't really care. This is not about transliteration. But this is something in a video game that came out either this year or last year. It's pretty wild. How are you all handling the heat? I could brew some of my special tea if you'd like. Now, let's continue with our special summer course, The Truth Behind Magic. I'll be talking about Kabbalah. Yeah, I bet you are, huh? Huh. You're going to be talking about Kabbalah. Kabbalah? It depends on how you speak Hebrew. There's a bunch of different dialects. There's not one way to say this word. I assume all of you at least heard of Kabbalah, yeah? It is known as the mystic study of Hebrew scriptures. Yeah, yeah, that's basically true. I mean, you have to study Tanakh and you have to study Talmud to get some access to this, but there's a lot of stuff in it that's not in Talmud. So, as I've mentioned before, it has had a great impact on Western sorcery. I do not think so. Christians using Jewish mysticism, I sincerely doubt it. It has been said that to learn the secrets of magic, you must first understand Kabbalah. Uh huh. So, who is the person who formed this incredible ideology known as Kabbalah? Oh, right. Yeah. So, that's where I paused the game and read all this, and we are moving forward. Who started this? That's a good question. I bet this game is going to make up some nonsense. Moshe? Moshe Rabbeinu, according to legend. Yeah, well, I mean, that's the folklore, but that's not literally who wrote it. Okay. Moses, yes. I'm using his Hebrew name. Moses the teacher. Moshe Rabbeinu. Yes, that Moses. The Moses who gave us the Ten Commandments. No, 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 he was given the Ten Commandments and schlepped them down. He did not do the work. And he did not split the Red Sea. He made the invocation, but it was not his power. But whatever. This game is by Japanese people, and they have a loose understanding of Judaism. But in reality, it was formulated by a group of rabbis. Okay, good. Good. They're actually talking about the real details. Okay. However, because it features such a complicated coded system, yes, we're talking about gematria and the system of gematria, if you prefer, which is the way in which words are turned into numbers and can be read with secret meanings. Yeah. It did not become known to the Western world until much later. Jews are part of the Western world. There were Jews all throughout the Mediterranean and in northern and central Europe as early as 300 or 400 CE. Okay, go on, Edagawa. Now, it's important to note that there are many different ancient methods of deciphering Kabbalah. Okay. For example, okay, here we go. Gematria, the interpretation of text by replacing letters with the numbers they represent. See? I know my shit. I know what I'm talking about. There's notarikon. Notarikon. That doesn't sound very Hebrew to me. Where you take a letter from each word to form another sentence or thought. Goddamn acrostic nonsense. Ugh. And Temura, okay, that's legit. A method where letters of words are replaced, thereby giving the sentence a new meaning. Yeah, this is the type of stuff I don't really focus on. I don't think is particularly interesting, but all these methods make it difficult to fully comprehend Kabbalah. Yes! That's why people are said to not do it until they've studied for at least 20 years as an adult. Which I have not done that much studying. I've done many other things with my life.
So, continuing on.
Now, one of the most important ideas of the Kabbalah is the tree of life, comprised of the 10 Sephirot. Okay, Sephirot, legitimate pluralization. Most illustrations depicted as a chart shaped like a tree. The 10 nodes represented by the Sephirot and the 22 paths connecting them all come together to form a map of God's creation and the spiritual ascent of man. Yeah, those charts are in there. I think those are mostly of medieval provenance. Yeah. Where do we come from? Where do we go? Where do you come from, Kanai Joe? Where are we going? These answers lie in the Sephirot and not rednecks. Thank God. Because I know a bunch of Swedish 90s rock acts and pop acts were really tied up in white power nonsense. Ugh. When training your magic, it's important to picture the Sephirot every so often. And when you're meditating, you should focus on the Sephirot as well. Okay, I guess so. I mean, I have my Chanukia lit in the room. I am playing games to it, but I've got other lights in the room. So, I'm not just relying on them for light. This is going to be on the testing node. They say knowledge is another form of magic, so study hard. What kind of school tests on this stuff? Now, this was handy, but they also, right before this, the day before, we were going over the 22 major arcana of the tarot deck, which is actually super really relevant for the Persona series. But, yeah. So, if you find yourself struggling, you may wish to turn to the Sephiroth. By the way, did you not all notice I said there were 22 paths? Oh yes, the same number as the major arcana I spoke of before. Yeah, well, it's easy when the tarot are made well after Kabbalah. So, it's like you shoot the arrow wherever it hits, then you paint the bullseye around it. Not super interesting. Now, continuing on, according to Kabbalah, existence is broken up into 4 worlds. Oh yes, before I forget. Supplementary lessons at the nurse's office as of the 2nd semester. Oh god, this game is so long. I think of doing demos with tarot cards.
As such.
But I won't have time for that during the lecture. So if you're interested, stop by after school. Yeah, or whatever. Actually, I don't remember that system in the previous versions of this game. I really resent P3 Remake because I could be playing as a girl. They have the script. They just said, oh, we don't have time for all the assets. Yeah. Day advances. Alright. So, we are still not out of great rank 4 for the academics. Alright. So, I'm gonna clip this just because I think that is something really interesting to me, and people who have been following this and people who are interested in my perspective on playing games, you're not gonna find much more that interesting that I find all that interesting than this. So I mean, this is kind of, I mean, I like complaining about some things and fetching, and I got to do that just because there was this scene in the game. So I can just record that ish now because I got a streaming setup. So I will cut it here. I'm just gonna separate this, and I hope you folks have a great day.